Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a narration of a message that I received. The message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, I want to confess that I was forced to become the person that I am right now. My own story is very different from other people who confess that they are witches. In my own case, I had to be forced. My grandmother was not a witch. My mother was not a witch. What happened when I was still a young girl, there was this other lady. This was like a church woman, and I want people to be very careful of these people who pretends to be Christians, because some of them, they might even be leaders in their own church, yet they are witches. There was this other neighbor of ours, so all the people thought that she was a good Christian because at her home it was more like an orphanage, because she used to look after disabled kids as well as orphans. As for those disabled kids, those ones that could not walk, late at night, I then found out that she would change them and they would become like ostriches. These were the birds that we were using when we were going around looking for people that we wanted to bewitch. And each and every time when she would wake me up, when the spirit of witchcraft would possess us, then I would see her changing and transforming the bodies of those kids that were staying at her orphanage so that they can become like that bird that is called an ostrich. At her orphanage, there were also some kids that could not speak, but at night, these kids, they would be able to speak. Those were the ones that would give us the directions everywhere where we wanted to go to. These kids, they were the ones that were acting as if they were our GPS. Before I had became a witch, I was someone that was already dating. So this woman, she was holding a Bible study. My mom and my father then said that for me to be a disciplined child and for me to stop dating these young boys, because I was still young, 15 at that time, I had to go and join other people that would come at her house every night for a Bible study. But what will surprise me is that whenever I would go to her house, the rest of the people, she would actually give them tea with some biscuits. But as for me, she would always give me this juice. We have this juice in Zim that is called raspberry. She used to pour that juice for me, and it was very different from what other people were getting. Even the taste, it was very different from the original taste that I knew of raspberry. It tasted more like it was blood, and it was also extra thick. My brother, with time, this lady, she then kept on saying that I had to be the last one to leave her house because we had to clean up the kitchen as well as to return the chairs, because we used to have this Bible study in her garage. And then there was this other night, she then told me that I had to remain behind like always. After we had cleaned up the place, she told me that I had to go home alone, and I am someone that is always afraid of the dark. I told her that like she had to send one of her daughters to accompany me to our house, even though it was next door, but I was really scared because I was leaving her house. She then said that, well, tonight it is really dark. Are you sure that you are not going to come across the spirit of the dead, or maybe you are going to come across an evil witch? I then started running. I ran so fast, and when I was at the front gate, she had this gate, you know, those metallic gates whereby you have to push them. As I was pushing, focusing on that gate, that was when I saw her. Suddenly she appeared in front of me just like that. She spoke with me, Brother Nashi, and I got so scared, and she told me that she wanted to take me back to our house, and that was when I knew that this woman, she was a witch. Whenever I would meet her the next day after this spiritual encounter, she would ask me if I still remembered everything that I would have seen the previous night. And when I would want to go and report this matter to my mother, I would just forget everything. Then this woman told me that she wanted me to become a witch. I never wanted to become a witch, but there was this other day, she just called me. She called my mom and she said to my mom that she was busy cleaning the carpet. So she was asking my mom to send me over to her house so that I can assist her daughters. My mom then sent me there thinking that I was going to help our neighbor's daughter to clean up their carpet. But when I arrived at their house, I found them just relaxing. There was nothing that they were doing. When I asked them where their mom was at, they told me that she was in her bedroom. She then called out for me when she heard that I had arrived. When I went to her bedroom, immediately she then locked the door. After she had locked the door, Brother Nashi, she grabbed me by the neck and I could not breathe. That was when she decided to let me go. I regained my consciousness. I was really weak. She then pressed me down and I saw that she was holding a razor blade. She then started making some markings on my chest area, and after that, Brother Nashi, she made more tribal markings all over my back. Right now, anyone that does not have their spiritual eyes opened, they cannot see that I have these markings all over my chest as well as my back. If at anyone that has their spiritual eyes opened, they can actually see that I have these tribal markings that shows that I am a witch. So when I became a witch, I am not like a high-ranked witch. I am just a low-ranked witch. In every country or in every city that I go to, if there is a witch there, if that witch is higher ranked than I am, they can just force me to do things that I do not even want to do. I have been used all my life because I have these tribal markings that make me to be a witch. Then there was this other time when my husband's younger brother's wife was really sick. We then went back home. When we went back home, Brother Nashi, whenever this demonic spirit chooses to possess me, I do not have control whatsoever over that demon. It will just do whatever it wants with my body. When we were sitting down close to the place where she was sleeping, she was really sick, Brother Nashi. She could no longer talk, and we could see that her life was slowly fading away, but there was still hope there. My brother, when we were sitting and just talking like that, then my spirit left my body. My husband and my husband's relatives, they didn't notice that my spirit had actually left my body. They kept on speaking with me. They kept on talking with me, thinking that I was normal. But what was possessing my body at that time, it was that same demonic spirit. I had been sent to go and kill my husband's young brother's wife, the one that was sick. I then went to the place where she was laying down, and I knelt down close to her neck, and I then grabbed her neck as I was suffocating her. She looked at me and she was like, "Why have you chosen to end my life? If you end my life, if you kill me, then what is going to become of my children? Who is going to take care of my children when I am no more? What is going to happen to them?" But my brother, in that moment, I was heartless. I suffocated her until she could no longer breathe, and I quickly returned back to my body, and everyone was crying when I returned back into my body again, and I started crying with the rest of my husband's relatives, pretending as if I was feeling hurt with what had happened. This is my own story, my brother. I do not want to become a witch. I am forced to do the things that I am doing. My grandmother was not a witch. My own mother was not a witch. But simply because our neighbor, when she looked at me, she saw that she wanted me to be part of this witchcraft world. What hurts me is that in this world, I am low ranked, Brother Nashi. I do not have any peace. In any city that I go to, I can actually be visited by different witches. Then they will give me a task and I cannot refuse. There are many nights when I am transformed and they used me as their form of transportation. Sometimes they transform me and I will become like a hyena and I'll guide them to wherever they want to go to. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our sister there, and that was the narration of her story.